You know, in the same way that the no-lift cart really began with a sketch by my uncle, the no-lift company really began with a conversation with our lead installer after we finished the final prototype of the cart. He went on to tell me that he had literally been on the verge of quitting his job as an installer, not just quitting, working for my company, but getting out of the business entirely. He had just physically gotten to a point where it was intolerable. He just could not cope with the pain that he was experiencing every day after 10 years of installing. The problem was, he was married, his wife stayed home with their kids, they'd bought a house, he was in his mid-30s, and it wasn't just as simple as quitting his career and starting over. He was really in an impossible situation, and he was describing to me this sense of being trapped, having the skill and having the income, but not having the physical ability to continue doing the work, and how the cart had changed that. And now he realized he could continue this career as an installer with the device that we had created. At that point, we were really struck with this question: what do we do with this product now? Or what do we do with this cart that we had developed? We'd originally designed it to solve this problem in our own shop. We had not started this project with the idea of making it available to the industry, but we began to think how many other installers are in this same, impossible situation of being trapped by a career and the physical limitations of the work. We really began to ask that question: what's our obligation here? What do we do with this piece of equipment that we have developed? And when I say we, I'm referring to my uncle Roger. He had about a 30-year background in high-end manufacturing. He had been the one who had originally sketched out the concept way back in the beginning. And so he had taken the cart from my original prototype to really the final product, taking it from what really looked like a medieval torture device and turned it into a legitimate piece of equipment. And so we started asking this question: how big is this problem in the industry, and what role do we play in, delivering or providing the solution? And so first thought we had was, well, let's make a couple more units and see if anybody would be interested in them. And so we had 3 carts built. We had them powder coated. I threw them in the trailer in my pickup, and I started driving around town showing them to fabricators. And I called a buddy of mine who owned a stone shop just around the corner from us. Said, I got something I want to show you. He asked me what it was, and I said, it's an install device. And he asked me, he said, does it lift up and then rotate into the horizontal? And I said, yeah, it does. And he said, okay, yes, you can bring it by, but on one condition: if I like it, you let me buy it. And I said, well, that's kind of the idea. And so I did just that, brought it by, did a demo. Literally, first time he saw it, he walked into his office, had his wife cut a check, and he bought the first unit. 2 days later, I got a call from a buddy of his down in Salem. Had the same conversation. He said, I hear you got this install cart that lifts up and rotates, and we got a guy that just had to retire because of the physical damage to his body. How many do you have, and how much are they? And next morning he showed up with a check and a trailer, and he bought the other 2 units that we had. Completely shocked us. And so we had 5 more units made, and we sold those. We had 5 more units made, we sold those. And I think after the next batch of 5, we were kind of looking at each other going, man, we got to do something with this. This is no longer a sideline little, pretend project. This is a legitimate solution to a very real need in the industry. So we were at a crossroads. We were at a decision point we had to make. My uncle owned his own company. I owned my fab shop and my little distribution company selling sleeves and aprons. Neither of us really wanted to start, much less run, another company, but yet we felt we had this obligation, that there was this tremendous need in the industry and that we had a solution that could help, overcome that. And so we started to discuss, what do we do? Do we license it? Do we have an exclusive distribution? Do we find somebody to manufacture it? What do we do? And ultimately we decided that we had the responsibility of undertaking this project ourselves. And so at that point, the enormity of the task really began to sink in when we began to realize the engineering and the testing and the patents, all of the drawings, all of the manufacturing that was going to have to go into, not just turning a one-off product that we could sell to the fabricator around the corner, but setting up a legitimate manufacturing company where we had all the advertising and marketing and sales set up. We had an assembly process developed so that we could, create models that when they come off the assembly line, they were ready to install. Neither of us really wanted to undertake that project, but we just felt like this had been placed in our hands and it was something that we had to do. And so, never forget, we were sitting with the attorney forming the corporation, the No Lift Install System Corporation, and somebody had to be president. And neither my uncle or I wanted to be the ones responsible for running the company. And so we actually had a coin toss. We flipped a quarter 3 times to see who wouldn't be president. And I'm glad to say that my uncle lost that coin toss 3 tosses in a row, and he became president of the corporation, and I got to be secretary. And so that's really how the No Lift Install System Company was formed.